how shall I put it?
Yeah.
It is, I couldn't lie flat. I like to sleep flat on my back without a pillow, but I found it difficult to breathe lying flat on my back after I became very weak. But I think that's quite normal. When you're very
Well, it is
weak,
normal
it
if
helps.
you're not eating, yes.
Yes, that's what I mean. It's quite normal if you're not eating well that you should find difficulty breathing flat on your back. So I did worry whether I had damaged my heart in any permanent way, but it does not seem to be the case.
And you were worried about your spine too.
Well, I had spondylosis. That was, I think that's also to do with age and your posture. And I think the fact that I spent so much of my time just reading or sewing, and I think, you know, if you do this all the time, it's bound to affect your spine in some way or the other.
I would try to imagine being you and surrounded by a hostile force, cut off from your family, your colleagues and comrades and friends. Weren't there times when you were actually terrified?
No, because I didn't feel hostile towards them. This is what people don't seem to understand. They say, well, you must have been terrified, but why? I didn't feel hostile towards the guards or the soldiers surrounding me. And I think fear comes out of hostility. And I felt no hostility towards them, so I felt quite relaxed.
It can come out of aloneness and loneliness as well. And you were alone. You just told me that, for instance, you hadn't been able to speak to your husband and sons or write to them, be in contact with them for 2 whole years, 2 straight years. That must have produced an aloneness that in itself is frightening, surely.
Well, I didn't really feel that much alone because I had a radio, you know, and I listened to the radio about 5 or 6 hours a day. And that kept me very much in touch with the rest of the world. And of course I had my books I could read.
Yeah.
And I think loneliness comes from inside. You know, people who are free and who live in big cities, you hear so much that they suffer from terrible loneliness.
Yeah.
So I think loneliness comes from inside.
I mean, you've actually written a great deal about fear and fearlessness. Was there a point during your house arrest that you actually had to conquer fear?
No, not during my house arrest, but when I was small, it was in this house that I conquered my fear of the dark. So perhaps I feel comfortable in this house.
How did you conquer your fear of the dark then?
Well, just by wandering around in the dark
At night
for about 2 weeks.